All right, fire 'em up!
So many sequels and so many remakes. As far as movies go, 2025 should be the year of deja vu. So it seems like Hollywood has spoken. If you show up to the theaters or if you sit down to streaming to see some brand new film, most likely it's either going to be a sequel or a remake. If they're going to do an original film, you'll get them, but they will be few and far in between. And I know for some of you that's going to bother you until no end, and I kind of understand, but the box office numbers agree. The top 10 films thus far this year, 6 of them are either a sequel or a remake. A Minecraft movie and F1 are 2 of the films that pretty much buck the trend, but overall, sequels and remakes rule the day. I personally don't mind a remake or a sequel. I always say if you're going to do one, let a suitable amount of time come before you actually drop one of the others. If it's going to be a sequel, somewhere between 3 to 5 years. That usually gives enough time to get the film done, get the editing done, and build up enough interest for the film without it being too much time in between. Now, if you're going to do a complete remake, then yeah, you're going to need something between, in my opinion, 15 to 20 years. That leaves enough time for a new generation to be born, to come into their own, and to start watching movies and have their own opinions. And over the past month or so, there's been 4 movies in particular that I've sat and watched and thought to myself, you know what? They may not be the greatest of films, but these are worthy remakes and follow-ups to films that we've already seen. The first film up, Toxic Avenger. This time around in Toxic Avenger, there's no 98-pound nerd being accidentally dropped into a vat of chemicals. Instead, what you have is Peter Dinklage playing a janitor, Simon Goose, completely new character, but very much like the original. In this one, he gets caught up in a whistleblower scheme at a pharmaceutical company. He gets killed and thrown into the vat of chemicals. But instead of staying dead, he rises from the ashes and decides to become a arbiter of justice, the Toxic Avenger. That little bit of a change from the original to this, it does help it to fit into a more modern day aesthetic. If you're going to change up things, then you are going to have to change little things in order to make the film feel more modern and more up to date. And that little thing that they change really doesn't detract from the script. Honestly, this is a very worthy follow-up to the original 1984 film. Yeah, way back then is when the original came out. And this isn't a remake just for the sake of making remakes. I mean, they could have taken the easy way out and just redone the original movie, but they didn't. They made it feel fresh. They made it feel new. They made it feel fun, almost like I was watching the original. And honestly, this, to me, isn't a remake of sorts. This is an homage. It's a love letter to the original. If you saw the original and you watched this one and you like the original, then you're going to like this one. There's not much difference between that one and this one. The only thing I can say about the film that I didn't like was the gore and the blood of it all. It was a bit too much CGI. I honestly wish they would have just gone with more practical effects and made it feel like that B-flick, low-budget horror film that we got way back then. Honestly, that would have made the film a hell of a lot better. But overall, it is still such a fun movie to sit and watch. I have my problems with Peter Dinklage, and we'll talk about that at another time. But for this particular film, it is a hell of a lot of fun. Not perfect, but like I said, a hell of a lot of fun. It's a 7.5 and 10. Ah, yes, the blood and sandal genre. We haven't gotten too many good films out of that genre in quite a while. And here we have Red Sonja. Now, yes, this is not an original film. It is again, a remake. The original came out way back in 1985. And not much has changed. We follow the titular character as she carves her way to revenge and freedom after being captured, sold into slavery, and forced to fight in the pit in order to earn a living and to just basically survive. It's not too dissimilar from the 1985 version. That original film was very low budget and very just on the nose. And this film is more of the same. It doesn't feel as clean and as fun as the original, but it is still very nice to watch. The script itself does lack cohesiveness and it is a bit ham-fisted at times. The choreography does lack a steady hand and the direction is a tad bit haphazard. You can watch this film and see that the vision is there. They have the bare bones to make this into something grander, something bigger. But in doing it, they just didn't quite nail what they were going for. For all the shortcomings of the script, the film overall, and Matilda Lutz, who plays Red Sonja, it's still a fun, blood-soaked trip through the sword and sandal genre that we really haven't seen in a while. Last time we saw a film in this genre that I even cared to sit and watch was the follow-up to the Dungeons and Dragons franchise. But even that film fell short because they didn't quite nail what the feeling of what was supposed to be for Dungeons and Dragons. This film does exactly the exact same thing. It's not terrible because believe me, we've seen much worse films in the exact same genre, and even lately. But it is still okay to just sit and watch. It got one day in the theater and then went straight to video on demand, which is probably where it should have been in the very beginning in the first place. It's an okay film, very middling. Not terrible, but not quite good. It's a 6.5 out of 10. I can't quite put my finger on it when it comes to Adam Sandler. People tell me that he's not really that funny, but almost every single time he's released a film, I have laughed. I have found it entertaining. I just have fun watching the films. And here we have Happy Gilmore too. Our out of place golfer returns in a much more decidedly darker story as Happy Gilmore seeks to earn money to send his daughter to an overseas dance academy. And this comes after the death of his wife after a stray shot from one of his drives hits her in the head and kills her. And yes, that was a spoiler. I didn't want to give it to you, but that kind of falls into line of having to tell you why this film is so dark, in my opinion anyway. This is not the Happy Gilmore we remember from the first film. This is a much older Happy Gilmore. And honestly, it's not really happy. It's more of midlife crisis Gilmore. Now, you go back to the first film, and I don't want to try to retread it, but you kind of need to know what happens. But if you go back to the first film and watch it, then you realize that that was a story about a young guy who wants to do something, but he's not good at it. But the skill set that he has leads to him to something else. And he has to refine those skills in order to fit into that world. So you move forward now just about 30 years, and Happy Gilmore's almost 60. So what would it take in order to get him back onto the golf course after an errant shot kills his wife? Well, he has to earn the money in order to send his daughter to the dance academy. But he also has to figure out a way to get over what has happened to himself and to stop all of the drinking and after turning himself into an alcoholic after accidentally killing his wife, and to figure out a way to get back to the Happy Gilmore that he was. He may not capture it 100%, but he can be that person slightly or just enough in order to get the money that he needs. This is a film that fits the times. Adam Sandler is not that plucky 27, 28, 29-year-old that we remember from that film. Neither is Happy Gilmore. This is a film that fits the time, but unfortunately, cohesively and overall, the film just came a bit too late. Now, no, I don't think if they would have made this film 5 or 6 years after the original, it would have fit. And I think now, even almost 30 years later, it still doesn't fit. There was a sweet window in order to get this film made, and I think they just missed it by maybe a decade or so. But it's still okay to sit and watch and to understand that what is happening in the film with Happy Gilmore is something that we are all going to have to go through. It's a midlife crisis right before your very eyes. It's us being told, hey, things are going to happen, but you can overcome them and you can find a second chance in life to move forward, even if you do accidentally kill your spouse with a golf shot. It's an okay film. It's funny in spots, but not enough funny. It's a worthy follow-up. Yes, Happy Gilmore 2 is a thing now, and I don't think we've been 100% needed it, but it's here nonetheless. It's, like I said, a very midway movie. 6.5 out of 10. Most people will say that the Naked Gun franchise did not need a fourth film. After Naked Gun 33 and the third came out, pretty much everybody assumed that that was going to be the end, but they were wrong. There was always going to be a fourth film. But unfortunately, the original director and writer left the project after the death of Leslie Nielsen. Now, the original film was supposed to come out in 1999, but with the death of Leslie Nielsen, the film sat in developmental hell for 10 years before it was picked up again. Now, that was 2009. Again, it sat in developmental hell, but here we are in 2025, and Liam Neeson stars as Frank Drebin Jr. It's an actual really good follow-up to the original trilogy of the franchise. This fourth film just sees Frank Drebin Jr. trying to save Police Squad from being dismantled after his over-the-top antics, much like his father, gets him into a hell of a lot of trouble. Story aside, let's be for real. All we want to know is the movie funny? Yes, incredibly so. The Naked Gun franchise was never meant to be taken seriously. This is not Die Hard we're talking about. This is very much a parody of the original TV show called Police Squad. But this is a very good follow-up, remake, sequel, whichever term you decide to call it. This is a film that would fit right alongside back in the 90s if this film had come out back then. And I honestly believe that even if it wasn't Leslie Nielsen, if they wrote this film and stuck somebody else as the son of Frank Drebin in it, it would have made a hell of a lot of sense. This movie is funny. If you've seen any of the original films, you know. All of the comedy is going to be slapstick, out of place humor, and a little bit of potty humor every now and then. And it all still works. It's one of those films that you don't expect to get a lot out of, but believe me, I sat and watched this film and I laughed from the beginning almost to the end, just like I did while watching the original 3 films. I absolutely love the fact that Liam Neeson channels Leslie Nielsen so damn well. Leslie Nielsen playing Frank Drebin was just deadpan. Everything he said, he was serious about, and everybody else looked at him like he was absolutely stone cold crazy. And somehow or another, and not really somehow, because we've seen Leslie Nielsen do this before, but his straightforward deadpan style of acting fits this perfectly. You 100% believe that this older dude is still supposed to be the almost younger version of the son of Frank Drebin. And honestly, if they had not named him Frank Drebin Jr. and just named him Frank Drebin and stuck him in the role, it still would have fit. He is so good at playing this character just the way Leslie Nielsen played it. I just could not believe how hard I laughed watching him. I have seen Liam Neeson do so many other characters. I was expecting him to be halfway in and halfway out of this, but no, he goes full into this and makes this film and this character his own, and he is so damn good at it. And I get that so many people are going to watch this film and say, the jokes really don't work for me. It's not really that funny. And I get it. But for people like me who have either seen any of the original 3 films or enjoy potty humor and slapstick, you're going to sit there and watch this film and you are going to consistently laugh from beginning to end. There are going to be a handful of jokes that don't quite hit home, but before you know it, they'll move on to the next joke and it'll actually make that one funny plus the one that's going on. This is just a funny movie from beginning to end, and I absolutely enjoyed watching it. While some people may not enjoy the humor, I am not one of those people. I absolutely enjoyed it. It's an 8.5 out of 10. And it's no wonder that they're already talking about a follow-up to this particular film. And if they do it, I will go see that one too. 2025 has just been a mishmash of a handful of original films and a ton of remakes and sequels. And thus far, the remakes and sequels are outpacing the originals by a huge margin. So whatever Hollywood decides to do, we're just going to have to take it one movie at a time and enjoy what we can enjoy as we get them. That's it for now. I'll catch you all in the next video. So God bless. I love you.